sinonim dengan adat masyarakat di Negeri Sembilan.
Dalam memastikan adat yang berasal dari tanah Minangkabau itu terus dipraktikkan, satu pesta memperkenalkan amalan dan peraturan hidup masyarakat Negeri Sembilan diadakan di Laman Gentam Kuala Pilah baru-baru ini. Menurut Ketua Sekretariat Pesta Adat Perpatih, Datuk Zaki Said, pesta yang berlangsung 2 hari itu menampilkan pelbagai aktiviti, antaranya pameran dan demonstrasi.
Salah satu pada tujuannya, ramai anak-anak buah ni tak tahu kehadiran ataupun adanya adat Perpatih tersebut. Dan mereka ini, ibu bapa mereka adalah penyokong ataupun pendukung adat Perpatih ini. Tapi anak-anak mereka tak tahu.
Dengan penganjuran pesta adat Perpatih ini juga, golongan pemimpin adat khususnya dapat memberi peredahan kepada masyarakat tentang perkara asas dalam amalan adat itu. Antara yang menarik perhatian ialah peranan dan keunikan Ibu Soko, jawatan adat khusus untuk golongan wanita.
Sebenarnya dalam adat Perpatih ini, apabila kita mengadakan oleh kampung, oleh beradat seperti majlis perkahwinan, perkara-perkara yang utama ialah membentangkan alat kebesaran seperti atas rumah. Kita kena bentang tabir langit, tabir lingkung, tilam pandak, kita ada tepak sirih dan sebagainya. Kerana ini adalah merupakan asas kepada sistem adat Perpatih.
Kalau ada majlis kahwin, Ibu Soko buat peranan untuk memasang semua tabir-tabir ini. Dia mengarahkan anak-anak buah dia memasang semua tabir ini, dan tabir langit, tabir panjang dan tabir segala. Dan untuk santapan pula, untuk hidangan untuk datuk-datuk, dia akan menyediakan juga alat-alat makanan yang beradat.
Selain mengetengahkan pengetahuan mengenai adat Perpatih, makanan tradisi masyarakat Negeri Sembilan juga diperkenalkan, antaranya penganan cair atau lebih dikenali sebagai dodol.
Hi guys, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatimah Syahada binti Muhammad and I will be the first presenter to present our topic, which is Adat Perpatih, Factors Deterioration of Perpatih Customary Practice and System. So, let's start with the introduction of Adat Perpatih. In Peninsular Malaysia, the Perpatih custom is practiced in Negeri Sembilan, Naning Melaka and the Minangkabau population in Kampung Lokok, Kota Tinggi, Johor. This custom comes from the Minangkabau region, Sumatra, which was founded by Sultan Balun or Dato' Perpatih Nan Sebatang. This ritual is a prescribed way of life for the Minangkabau community who are farmers. In general, nomadic Minangkabau immigrants brought the indigenous Perpatih to Peninsular Malaysia in 14th century. This trend is based on matrilineal and is considered to originate from the Bodi Kanyago custom in Minangkabau, Sumatra. They brought with them their original customs and culture, and the Jakun people in Negeri Sembilan accept new custom and culture at the same time. Perpatih custom in Negeri Sembilan, on the other hand, are slightly different from Perpatih custom in Minangkabau, Sumatra. In Negeri Sembilan, the Perpatih custom has resulted in many adaptation and improvement to the social and political system. Adat Perpatih emphasized that the ancestral estate can be reduced and become the property as a tribe as a whole rather than the property of individuals. However, there are many Perpatih customary rules that give men the right to choose. To date, the Perpatih custom has played an important role in the Negeri Sembilan administrative system, which includes aspects such as the appointment of leader at all levels, land ownership, and the application of personal, family, and community values, all of which are marks of Negeri Sembilan's integrity as a subway state.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Maizatun Najwa. So the first issue is to get the younger generation interest in this adat Perpatih. They do not show their interest in practicing this adat Perpatih in their daily life. They feel that practicing petua or tips from the older is outdated. Nowadays, there are a lot of changes in adat because of the development that happen to their social culture due to changes toward the modernization. The adat Perpatih lose its influence as most young people are influenced by the external culture, and this can lead to the cultural disorder. If they practice the adat, the practice is no longer as pure as the original adat Perpatih culture. Based on a research, a result shows that young people faith in adat slowly disappear as they no longer feel the importance adapting this adat. They feel modernization was better and more fun. This happened as the younger generation do not put effort in appreciate and understand adat, or they do not have any idea at all about the real function of adat in their daily life. In addition, there were no proper guidelines or procedure in the books or document in order to practice this adat. There were so many taboos, proper guidelines, and the practices that needed ritual in order to apply adat. Because of that, young generation felt a burden for them to practice it. So they took some solution, either they ignore the adat or transform those adat into something that fit with the current situation. So next, the second issue. The second issue is regarding the conflict of Islam and adat. The conflict happened as some people believe that adat Perpatih against Syara. Another misunderstanding is when people believe that adat Perpatih makes Negeri Sembilan's men weak, while the women are queen control because they have power in the area of their inheritance to be able to do anything to the property. A few changes also were applied to several adat to balance it with Islamic law. An example in adat Perpatih, Tarian Pring. This ritual is not acceptable in Islam as it leads to syirik. This is why they change it. Transformation that also happened to adat lenggang perut. This adat now not being practiced anymore because the bidan or a midwife know how to perform the ritual is already dead. Next, after Islam datang to Malaysia, adat Perpatih culture of Minangkabau ethnic has been changed to suit it with the religion. As a result of this, adat Perpatih in Islamic context become much more flexible and based on hukum syara.
My name is Nofarhana binti Yusni. I will explain for the third issue. The third issue regarding the factors deterioration of Perpatih custom practice and system is influenced by urbanization. The definition of urbanization is the movement of people from rural to the urban areas, allowing cities and towns to develop. According to the lecturer at Faculty Entrepreneurship Education, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, which is Professor Dr. Nur Asma Othman. She said that the heirs who is inherited the Gadang house, which is the main house at Negeri Sembilan, are not left empty because the house cannot be sold. According to the Malaysia Kini News article, the heirs who have a copy of grant that belonging to their grandmother deceased while practice this Perpatih custom, they face problem in changing the name grant to the name of their family members such as mother or sisters in nowadays. They said that in nowadays era, to changing the name on the land grant, which is such as the Gadang house grant is difficult because there is need a lot of document as well as bureaucracies to complete the change of the name process. Many residents on customary land have been abandoned since their heirs have left their village, and the houses are now occupied by the foreigners. This is closely related to the urbanization when people start to move to the new place because have amenities. People who living in Negeri Sembilan who practice this Perpatih custom also started migrating from their village to the city because the customary land such as Gadang house could not longer to be sold. Professor Dr. Nur Asma also said that even interracial marriage, which are prohibited in Perpatih customs, are no longer required of the couple heirs. There are couples who are married to the same tribe but still occupy customary land. This practice was not allowed at this before. In fact, that the couple will be evicted from the state, which is Negeri Sembilan, and are not allowed to making a home or a house in customary land. So here it is also shown that when the Perpatih custom is violated by the local community, they have to migrate to the other places. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi guys, Assalamualaikum. My name is Putri Nur Nabila Binti Sabani. Today I want to present about roles of government, municipal council and society towards the issues problem for topic chosen. There are three issues in the factors: deterioration of the Perpatih customary practice and system that have been mentioned above. Therefore, there are three rules of government to maintain this Perpatih customary in the present, and this custom can remain in the syllabus future of society and sociology. The first rule of the government is the State Museum Board publish books on luar-luar in addition to scientific material in related fields. According to the chairman of Tourism, Unity, Culture, Arts, Heritage and Malay Customs, Datuk Muhammad Razi Kal said the publication of such material is the main policy of the State Museum Board in ensuring superiority of Perpatih custom. It is one of the main sources of knowledge in the states and the country in resisting the current rapid development bernama 2010. The second rule of the government is that the state government needs to continue the multi-tradition or slaughter of pigs in Negeri Sembilan. It has been the practice of Adat Perpatih for several generations every year. Chief Minister of States Datuk Seri Aminuddin Harun said the Mantai program was expanded to 11 locations in all districts to provide opportunities for the community outside Seremban to obtain meat supplies. He said 38,000 kilograms of pig that would benefit 12,666 residents were sold at the Mantai programs. The price offered in 29 ringgit per kilogram for solid meat, which is cheaper than the market which sells around 36 ringgit to 38 ringgit per kilogram. Every time the Mantai program is held, visitors will definitely visit and buy that is sold at a cheaper price than the market. The third rule of the government is central of the value of Adat Perpatih through traditional cushion in the museum. The Negeri Sembilan Museum Board LMNS has taken proactive steps in planning various interesting programs to highlight the value of Adat Perpatih through 5 museums in Negeri Sembilan. The 5 museums are the State Museum in Seremban, Istana Lama Loyal Museum Seri Menanti, Teratak Zabak Jempol, Rembau Museum and Megalithic Complex Port Dickson. Directors of LMNS Samsudin Ahmad Six. Among the programs planned are traditional cushion according to Luwak, which is Luwak having their own traditional cooking methods and methods. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and greetings. My name is Siti Khadijah and I'm going to explain about the suggestions that related to the case study and the topic of future of urban sociology. Even though the government already takes several initiatives to make sure that the application of the matrilineal custom, which is Adat Perpatih Customary, does not vanish by modernization, the effort is still not enough. Millennials nowadays are more engaged with the gadgets that exposed to freedom. Thus, most of this generation does not prefer to follow the rules or be binding to them. Other than that, since the number of the societies that still apply this culture are in Malaysia is minority, it limits the exposure about this culture to the public. Firstly, one of the matrilineal customary practice and system suggestions is by applying the matrilineal culture according to modernization. According to the study that was done by Shamsuddin et al., the misunderstanding among the current society brings negative impact to many parties, since the matrilineal culture was seen as just as decoration and just a symbol that was used to attract tourists. Thus, this kind of mindset needs to be changed by applying matrilineal culture according to the situation and era of modernization. For example, applying the culture in the wedding must be made with a clear and systematic procedure, so the public will not see this culture as burden and complicated. In the report that was titled Adat Perpatih should keep up with times from Astro Awani, the application of the matrilineal culture that contains the ethics in communication is very important to be applied to the new generation since they are young. So the uniqueness of this culture can be sustained in the wave of globalization. Secondly, since there are not many people that are still practicing this culture, as I mentioned before, the number is still minority. It is imperative to give more exposure to Malaysians about Malaysia's matrilineal customs to the public in Malaysia. In the report that was written by Hafiza, not every citizen in Malaysia have enough understanding about the difference of the culture that was applied in Malaysia and Indonesia. Even though this culture originally was come from Indonesia, but some modification was made in order to make the culture more suitable to be practiced in Malaysia according to the Malaysian law. For example, in the study that was made by Makia et al., it was proved that matrilineal culture in Malaysia was modified, so it follows the Sharia law, the Islamic Sharia, especially in the division of heritage. So, other than that, the other parties, such as media mass or NGO, need to participate more in giving more exposure about this culture to the public. For example, the activities such as talks or forums should be held frequently to make Malaysians more understanding about the other cultures. When there is an understanding among the society, it will create a more secure and safe environment for the society, since they will not have to worry that they will be judged or threatened for the culture that they practice.
I'm Nur Aisyah binti Mohandra. To conclude, there are a few issues that have been identified, including concurrent societal hydrants. This can be seen in particular among young people who believe it is unimportant to participate in customs and cultures that are considered outdated in today's society. They are prone to ignoring and refusing to adopt the customs and cultures. Another issue highlighted is the conflict between Islam and custom. This problem is caused by each individual's point of view, which leads to misunderstandings when they are unaware of adat Perpatih nature. Furthermore, urbanization is emphasized due to the emergence of problems as a result of factors deteriorating Perpatih practices and customary system. As more people migrate from the countryside to the city, the customs become obsolete, as it will only cause a few of problems because they will be leaving their land behind. This suggests that as urbanization increases, customary use will be abandoned and eliminated. The government, particularly the state government, is responsible for putting in place measures to ensure adat Perpatih's continued existence and can be adapted well. The government methods stated include publishing books about customs by the State Museum Board, continuing mantan tradition, and emphasizing the value of adat Perpatih in the museum through traditional food. This method to some extent will aid in maintaining the culture and customs of adat Perpatih and can serve as an introduction to those who are unfamiliar with it, as well as a chance for more individuals to learn about it. The government has already taken steps to ensure the continued use of adat Perpatih, but additional efforts are needed to raise awareness of adat Perpatih among the general public. Several suggestions have been proposed, including adapting matrilineal culture to modernization, such as using it in places where everyone can see it, such as at the wedding ceremony. Another idea is to make more information on Malaysian matrilineal customs available to the public, such as through talks and forums, so that everyone can always alert about it. Hence, now that the issues have been tackled, it will be simpler for various parties to find solutions, as it is our job to guarantee that traditions and cultures may exist today and in the future, so that our future society can continue to benefit from their implementation.